Hello, Miss Lydia again, and I'm here to tell you the next part of the story. Last time we were together, I was in my garden with two beautiful oak trees, and I was telling you the story about when God made everything, including the Garden of Eden, and he put Adam and Eve in there, and they got to live in that beautiful, perfect garden with God. And they were happy because they were obeying God. Well, this part of the story is called the start of man's sadness, because it's when they disobeyed God. And they got thrown out of that garden. They were locked out. And right now, I am locked out of my garden. This is my garden gate, and it's locked, and I'm sitting in the dirt, and the stones are poking me, and there's creepy crawlies, and there's weeds. So it's not as nice or as comfortable a setting as last time. So, God made everything. When God made the first man, Adam, he lived in the Garden of Eden with his wife Eve, and they were perfectly happy obeying God and enjoying his presence until one day "Did God tell you not to eat of every tree?" the serpent asked Eve. "We can eat of every fruit but one," she replied. "If we eat or touch that fruit, we'll die." "You won't die," the serpent smirked. "You'll become like God." Well, now Eve wanted that fruit, and she listened to the serpent, and she ate it. And when she disobeyed God, she gave Adam some fruit, and he ate it too, and he should have said, "No, I will not disobey God's word." But he didn't. And when Adam and Eve sinned, they both knew they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves into aprons and covered themselves and hid in the bush from God's presence. Now they were afraid and trying to hide. And we know that we can't hide from God, because he sees everything and he knows everything, and he is everywhere. But they tried anyway. In the cool of the evening, God came to the garden. He knew what Adam and Eve had done. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. God said, "The serpent is cursed. The woman will have pain when children are born, and Adam, because you sinned, the earth is cursed with thorns and thistles, and you will toil and sweat to get your daily food." It would no longer be a pleasure for Adam to go and get his food. So God put Adam and Eve out of that wonderful garden. Because they sinned, they were separated from the living God. God made a flaming sword to keep them out, and he had to make coats of skins for them too, because their fig leaves weren't enough. And here they are, look, very, very sad. And outside the garden is that flaming sword, which was probably God himself or an angel, keeping them out of this beautiful garden. And all because they disobeyed God. In time, a family was born to Adam and Eve. The firstborn son was called Cain, and he was a gardener. And the second son was Abel, and he was a shepherd. One day, Cain brought God some vegetables as a gift. Abel brought some of the very best of his sheep as his gift to God, and God was pleased with Abel's gift. But he wasn't pleased with Cain's gift, and Cain was very angry. And God said, "If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? Why are you angry?" And here you can see Cain being very angry with his hands on his hips. And his anger did not go away. And sometime later in the field, he attacked Abel and he killed him. He was so jealous of his brother being accepted and angry with God. God spoke to Cain and he asked him a question. "Where's your brother Abel?" And Cain lied. "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God punished Cain by taking away his ability to be a successful farmer, by making him a wanderer. So here he is trying to hide his wrongdoing now, his sin. He's covering up his brother. But we can't hide, can we? Not from God. So Cain went out from the presence of the Lord. Later he was married to a daughter of Adam and Eve, and they raised a family. And soon his grandchildren and great-grandchildren fulfilled the city that he founded. He built a city, look. Meanwhile, the family of Adam and Eve grew quickly, and in those days people lived much longer than they do today. And when her son Seth was born, Eve said, "God gave me Seth to replace Abel." Seth was a godly man. That means he lived in a way that pleased God. And guess how long he lived? 912 years. Wow. He had many children. Here they all are, busy working and taking care of things. In the world, people became more and more wicked. They disobeyed God. As one generation followed another, lots of time went by before God finally decided to destroy mankind and the beasts and the birds. You can see lots of things happening in this picture here. This woman is stealing from this man, and here they're fighting. But one man pleased God. God was sorry he'd made man, but this one man pleased God, and his name was Noah. He was a relative of Seth. Noah was righteous and blameless because he walked with God. And he taught his 3 sons to obey God as well. Now, God planned to use Noah in a very strange and special way. And in this picture, we haven't talked about it, but this is a sacrifice. This is a lamb or an animal that had to die, and it was the way they worshipped God. And here they are. They're praying to God, and they're asking him to forgive their sins. So there's lots of things in that story that we could talk about, but there's one thing I want you to think about. When you or me, when we get angry, I want us to remember to bring that anger to God. If you think about the story when Cain got angry, God asked him a question. Why are you angry? And he had an opportunity to say, I'm angry, yes. Please forgive me and help me with my anger, but he didn't. And so he was so furious he killed his brother. And God asked him another question. Where is your brother? And it was an opportunity for him to confess, to tell God, oh, I've done a wicked thing. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. But he didn't. And God asked Adam and Eve questions when they had done wrong things. So he gives us chances, opportunities to confess and to tell him, oh, we've done these wrong things. I've done this wrong thing. Or I'm angry. Please help me with my anger and forgive my part in this. So I want you to remember that God is patient and he gives us second chances all the time. He's sitting there right now waiting for you and me to go and talk to him. And he delights to hear from us, especially when we come and ask him for help, or we tell him we've done something wrong and please could he forgive us. And he will forgive us and he'll listen to us and he'll help us. So I want you to remember that God is kind and loving, and if you go to him, he will help you if you ask him. Okay, for now, I'm going to say goodbye to you, and perhaps next time I'll come back and tell you some more of the story. Okay, bye-bye.